All right, what is up, Laker fans? We have Osmosis joining us today after the Lakers just beat the Nuggets after Game 2 and Anthony Davis's buzzer beater. How are we feeling tonight?
Feeling good, man. How about you? How about you?
Pretty good. Honestly, I haven't been that, I would say emotional after seeing a buzzer beater in quite some time in LA. Probably since I think it was Artest or Powell had a game-winning shot against the Suns in 2010. It's been a while since we felt that, and yeah, that was just great basketball to watch, even though the Lakers played like ass the whole second half.
The whole third quarter, the whole fourth quarter, or the beginning of the fourth quarter, really. And then at the end, see, the only thing about that shot is, and about this game, I'm happy that he made the shot. Yes, amazing shot. But you don't want to be that close to this team. This team just came back 3-1 twice. Clearly, they know about losing and coming back.
Yeah.
So I want to see more dominant wins. I want to see 15, 20-point wins. I want to see LeBron on the bench for the fourth quarter, AD on the bench for the fourth quarter. I don't, even though, like I said, amazing shot. I'm glad that I saw it, but I would love for them to have a good blowout game, you know?
Yeah, I feel the same way, and you don't ever want to give teams like that a chance. And I hope in Game 3 they come out just and kind of let them know that, hey, this is not a series. You guys might get one game, but that's it.
I honestly don't even want
one game,
because I want from now on, I want the tone to be set, not just for the Nuggets, but for whoever we're playing, Celtics, Heat. Listen, we're not going to struggle like y'all struggling. Y'all series are going to go 7. This is going to be a nice, clean sweep. We're going to get our rest in, game plan for whoever we're game planning for. But this is a notice. We're, like you said, I think either you tweeted or somebody else tweeted, the Heat and the Lakers are 2-10-2 in the playoffs. So it's and when you get to the other side, those boys aren't scared on the other side. The Celtics aren't scared of you. Jimmy Butler isn't scared of you. So you have to set that tone. I would like to see that tweet.
Yeah, and I know, I tweeted that out probably right after the game. People have noticed the Heat's 10-2 start and how they've been on fire. Yet the Lakers are 10-2 too. We've handled our business in the West, and I think the West is tougher. I know people like to talk about hindsight and well, the Rockets aren't that tough. Well, Dame's not that tough, but I believe it was either Pick Up Hoop or Original Geo tweeted out all the screenshots from what people said before each series. The Lakers would have a handful each series, but after LeBron and AD send them home in 5, it's, the West is weak. And I'm just the West is only weak because we have 2 superstars that handle their business. This isn't Kawhi and PG. This is Anthony Davis and LeBron James who handle their shit when it matters. Tonight, the Clippers would have lost that game. The Lakers won that game. That's the difference between our 2 teams. Anthony Davis will step up and make that shot.
The Clippers wouldn't have even been in the position to get that shot. They would have been blew the lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree. It's just this team they might play stupid for 10 to 15 straight minutes, but there comes a time where it's winning time, and this team has the winners on this team that will take over in that spot. And outside of Kawhi, does anyone on that Clippers team really have that? I know they like to talk a lot, but does anyone actually have that talent besides Kawhi? And it showed last series they don't.
Honestly, with the Clippers last series, what it showed us is that everybody thought they had this magical, mystical game plan, but their game plan really was throw it to Kawhi. If that doesn't work, you throw it to Paul George. And if that doesn't work, they do the little Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell pick and roll.
Yeah.
That's not a game plan.
No.
When those people went way off P, playoff, pandemic P, it is going 6 for 20 in a game 7. What are you going to do? Where's your game plan? So, like you said, this Lakers, or like LeBron said, look, this Lakers team is just built different. It's built with people who wanted, first of all, not to even mention the vets on this team. Dwight Howard looking at this ring. Rondo looking at this ring. People who are even not the vets. Alex Caruso looking at this ring, and it's this might never happen again. I might not get picked up by the Lakers again. They might trade me. They might not So everybody's hungry. You know LeBron's hungry. And oh, another thing. I'm from New Orleans. I'm sick of the AD slander.
Yeah.
Now, of course, being in New Orleans, it's a football town. They like the Saints, LSU.
Yeah.
They don't really too much care about the Pelicans. Even still, that Zion games, like I'm speaking from experience. As a kid, you could go get a front court seat for a Pelicans game, $150.
That's wild. That's
$150.
a nosebleed seat in Staples.
You might not even. You can't even park at Staples. What are you like? What? So yes, people just weren't looking at him. Like I know he wasn't hitting game winners in the playoffs before, but he didn't have the team around him. He was in New Orleans. Look where he was. This dude has been a 20-10, sometimes 20-20 if you want to, player. Should have been defensive player of the year.
Should have.
I just can't even get over that. In a series where you have the defensive player of the year and people are asking you, why aren't you guarding Jimmy Butler? Your answer is, that's not my job. The coach is telling me. No, the defensive player of the year says, I'm guarding Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Move out of my way. He's scoring 40. Let me stop him. This is my job.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah, and like last series, you saw AD guard Russell Westbrook. Giannis would have probably said, that's not my job. There's differences of mindsets, and I'm glad AD's out of New Orleans because now he's in a big market where people can watch him play. And my thing is, if you're slandering AD and you're saying LeBron's better than AD, doesn't that put AD in a certain category though? If you're comparing AD to LeBron, like if we're putting Anthony Davis in a LeBron category, isn't that top 3, top 5 in the league then?
And first,
at high standards, that means AD is in that discussion.
And it's like that whole LeBron. Of course, LeBron isn't 17. LeBron isn't 22. He isn't 25. He isn't Miami LeBron.
Yep.
But if we're going to sit here and act like we haven't seen that LeBron can still be LeBron and that he isn't kind of deferring to let Anthony Davis, hey, this is your team. Because what people also forget, we're so caught up in the playoffs, everything happening today, Anthony Davis still has to sign a contract next year.
Yep.
So if I don't say, hey, this is your team, and we lose, I go out average 50.
Yep.
And we get put out in the second round. Now you leave. Now what was trading Lonzo for? Now what was trading Brandon Ingram for?
Yeah. So like, yeah, that kind of like makes sense with AD or LeBron deferring in like the second half to AD, but also speaks to AD's talent wise. LeBron James is deferring to you. That means you're a top player. And my argument or my thing to AD is, where else in the league right now are you going to get this kind of talent around you? You can't do this in Chicago. I know Chicago is home, but like, why would you? You are 10-2 in the playoffs in LA right now. You've won more games in this playoff run than you have your entire life. Everything is coming easy to you. You're dropping 30 points after 30 points in the Western Conference Finals. We haven't seen that since Kobe. So if you're doing things that we haven't seen since Kobe and you have LeBron as your teammate, why the hell would you ever want to leave? And
you just seen 2 other stars in Kawhi and Paul George not be able to make it. Yeah. You see where this league is going. This league isn't, and then that's another thing. We always talk about, they always talk about, oh, LeBron runs this league. He ran this league in a soft league. Kawhi and Paul George did not make it out of the second round. So to your point, why would you leave? Where are you going to go? If they can't make it, where are you going to go? Your best bet is to stay here. LeBron signed another year, 2 more years, got an option.
And it's like, my thing is, the Lakers also can get better next season. There are contracts, trade assets to get gone, plus salary-wise and ways we can get better. Plus, who knows if Boogie resigns next season because the Lakers showed him X amount of love while he was in Los Angeles. Like the Lakers have an opportunity to not only win it this year, but also get better for next year with certain things they could trade in the offseason. So again, you have LeBron James, you have AD. You can do whatever the hell rests with the rest of the team, and you can get better next season while also getting 17 this year.
So I have a question for you. I told you in the beginning I have a lot of questions for you throughout this. What do you think next year, as far as like you said, this team could get better, right? This is all assuming you win the ring.
Yep.
You keep Kyle Kuzma, or you try to trade him to get a possible, I wouldn't say a third star, but somebody to fill that role of another 15 to 20 point per game.
Listen, for the most part in the bubble, he's done everything we ask. He's had a couple off nights, like tonight. Tonight was kind of bad for Kyle Kuzma. So that's why I'm not going to be overreactive with tonight, but he is a trade asset you could dangle out there basically. And if you don't want to pay him because he has a contract year coming up. So if you aren't going to pay Kyle Kuzma, then yes, go shopping. But if you think Kyle Kuzma fits with Anthony Davis after LeBron, then I don't know. I don't know if we have enough. I don't know if we have enough to trade for Bradley Beal with Kuzma. I don't think that happens.
And I don't see LeBron leaving. Like, they win this ring once again, assuming. Knock on wood, they win this ring. I don't see LeBron leaving. Like you said, Golden State comes back.
Yeah.
Portland is kind of stuck unless they make a trade. Everybody's kind of stuck. Houston's kind of stuck. LA Clippers are kind of stuck with the cap. Everybody's kind of stuck with their cap. We kind of know what the teams are going to be, kind of.
Yep.
So would you expect them to at least make the conference finals again next year?
The Lakers, yeah. I think they can win it this year and be better next year. As crazy as that sounds, I think it can happen. Because you got to think, maybe we try to ship Danny Green off in the offseason because he's making way too much money to be.
He has to go. How many more? Yeah. How many more Green?
Yeah. And it's to his point, like he might be off, but we might have to end up paying KCP a little bit more because KCP, outside of that first month, he's been amazing this entire second half of the season bubble. Like last game, he had 18 points and he played tremendous. His thing is when he tries to overplay, over dribble, overshoot, that's where he gets in trouble.
Yes.
Like tonight, that the end of the shot clock 3 that he made, we don't win this game without that. That was a run.
And I hated that. Are you talking about the 3 when it's at the end of the shot clock and he randomly swipes up and makes it and it looks
something up. He just threw something up.
It's those are like the J.R. Smith type of shots. You have to live with it because it's J.R. You have to live with it because it's KCP. But man, he's getting paid. And doesn't he have am I tripping or does he have a no trade clause?
That I believe. Actually, he still might have it since we signed him again. But it's just if he's producing how he is, cool. I'm cool.
How does KCP get a no trade clause?
That's clutch. That's clutch sports right there.
Wow.
But again, we have LeBron and AD from the clutch agreement, so it is what it is. Like I'll gladly take whatever paying KCP $18 million that first year for this connection.
I want to hear your thoughts about the Eastern Conference Finals only because I want to see. I honestly, I'm not trying to disrespect the Nuggets. I'm not trying to look past the Nuggets, but I'm going to be completely 100% honest. Just like Chuck said, and Shaq, I don't know if you've seen after the game, when you play that good of a game
and lose,
it's so hard to come back. I played baseball. Yeah. I played sport. Like when you lose, when you are like that closest, man, we have these dudes beat. All we got to do is stop them one time, and he fades in your face. It's so hard to come back. So I'm kind of not looking past it, but I honestly am worried for some reason about playing the Heat. I have zero. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Eric Spoelstra knows LeBron, the whole connection, their energy. They pass the ball, their defense. Man, if you watch them, they swarm on defense. I think we could beat them, but I'm just kind of, that game, I think that one might go 6.
So what the Lakers did well in the regular season was actually they played zone against a zone defense and actually did pretty well. I don't know which Laker beat writer reported that, but every single time that the Lakers faced the zone, they did very well. And they've played the Heat twice this year, won both times. And I believe they're either 4-0 or 3-1 against the Heat since LeBron's been in LA. So I know they have the defenders. I know they have the grit. I know they have like the Jimmy Butler like effect. Like Jimmy Butler is one of my favorite non-Lakers in the league because he's there every night. He can score 10 points and still be the best player on the team.
Right.
Like that. I would have loved Jimmy Butler in LA if we would have gone after him instead of Kawhi, but it is what it is. Just because him as that third star next to LeBron and AD, that's a defensive pest. That's a guy that's not afraid of the moment either. But I don't know. I think in a 7-game series, the Lakers have the 2 best players, not just the duo. The Lakers have the 2 best players in the league in the bubble remaining. So I just think it's tough to beat the 2 best players in the league that is still on the same team. Plus Caruso, all the role play just stepping up. And again, the Lakers have adjustments.
Man, listen, is Caruso on the contract? Like, do they have to give him a contract? Because he is.
He's on contract, I think, next year for $2 million.
That might be a little trade asset. Somebody might want him on a.
He's going to be a trade asset.
He is. Listen, and there's a lot of hate out there. I don't know why people like to hate on Caruso. I like dude headband. I like the whole aesthetic of him. But somebody's gonna want to trade for him.
Yep.
Like you said, him, Kyle Kuzma. I'm really ready to see what the Lakers do with this roster because I honestly think that most people think that they'll try to run this roster back and hope it gets better. And I don't think anybody on this team besides AD and LeBron will be on this team next year. Might keep a Dwight. You might keep a 1 or 2, like you said, KCP or whoever.
Yeah.
The rest gone.
I think. So a lot of these Laker players, a lot of the vets, we took a chance on them, basically. We were going to give you the vet men. If you play well for us, cool. If not, you get cut, and we'll find someone. Dwight's played very well. Someone's going to give Dwight money next year.
Right.
So it'll be up to the Lakers on whether they match that or not.
But when you say money, how much money are you thinking?
I think Dwight's played very well for someone to get $6-7 million next year.
Okay.
Yes, it might have been weird that he got a 6th Man of the Year vote, but he played his role fantastically. And so I just think some team gives him $6-7 million. Maybe you see a Sacramento give him some money because that's kind of like what they lacked basically. Like Raquan Holmes played very well for the Kings, but if you put Dwight in that system, Fox to Dwight lobs, I'd love to see that.
How do you feel about Buddy Hield? He wants out. How do you feel about
you're next to LeBron and AD?
The pick and roll with AD and LeBron, and you have Buddy Hield in that corner waiting for that 3. That's unstoppable.
It's just he plays no defense.
Pick your points.
So I don't know if you can get him to buy into some kind of defense. Cool.
I mean, but see, this is one thing, and I've never. You there?
What happened?
Are you there?
Yeah. What's up, man?
All right. So I was saying I've never been a big fan of Frank Vogel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I've seen him get to with the Pacers. Honestly, I think that whole team, it was a coaching problem. It wasn't Paul George falling short. Even though we make jokes about Paul George now, a lot of that wasn't on Paul George. It was on coaching. But this defense, he has to be, even though Anthony Davis says I want to be defensive player of the year, and that might have rubbed off on the team, his defensive minding coaching and how he has this team locked in, no matter if they're missing threes, no matter if how many more Danny Green, no matter, we're going to get back. We're going to block this shot. We're going to get in this passing lane. We're going to hedge on these screens. So if Buddy Hield would get into that system, he's one of those people who I know he wants to work. So it's not going to be an issue. It's just like Jimmy Butler or somebody. If you would put Marcus Smart in Miami, thrive, because he wants to work. He even though it's a different system, he's going to figure it out because he knows they want the hard work ethic. So.
Yeah, like I know Buddy Hield, he tries. Like I'll give him that. He tries. It might not be great, but he tries. So if you can put AD behind him with LeBron and maybe another defender, it could work. Plus his shooting will be a positive impact on the other side of the ball. Because I know he's one of the greatest three-point shooters in the league right now. And if you put him next to AD, you can't, what's it called? Like tonight in the fourth quarter, they put 3 players on LeBron when LeBron drove. Like 3 people collapsed, and you had Rondo in the corner. If you have Buddy Hield there, that shit's going in 9 times out of 10.
10 times out of 10.
He could be a target, but like some of the people in the thing are saying, Buddy makes a lot of money, so Danny Green would have to leave in that trade, and obviously we'd love to get him out of LA, but you'd have to attach probably a Kuzma, maybe a Caruso to get him.
That's what I'm saying. I'm assuming what he makes, somewhat 20. What Danny's making. Danny's making what, 15?
Yeah, but like, get there money wise.
Come on, we could get there money wise. I mean, but it's because, like I said, and once again, they also have to the chat. It's not like I'm saying, oh, like I just would like Buddy Hield because I randomly want Buddy Hield. He has said, I don't want to be on this team anymore. Like even like we just forgot about it because Corona happened, the bubble happened, but right before the season ended, right after the All-Star break, he said, yo, I really don't want to be here. Like y'all need to trade me. So if he needs to get moved, that the Lakers need to be honed in on Buddy Hield.
Yeah, like I'd say that's a more realistic target than Bradley Beal.
Way more realistic.
Yeah. Plus, you could, after you get Buddy, then you could kind of work your team around that. And like I said, Boogie, with how the Lakers treated Boogie and like the camaraderie he has with AD and Bron, we could see DeMarcus Cousins on this team as like a kind of like a vet deal next year. Just like, hey, work your way back to health, play, prove yourself, kind of like how Dwight did, and then get your money next year.
Yes.
That's the kind of deal DeMarcus could be on next year. So like I do think the Lakers will be better next year. But we got to talk about AD. To me, is the most gifted big in the league, and I know like they'd like to give that to Jokic, but I don't see how you see what AD does on both ends. And
you tweeted that today. You tweeted that today. You said you tweeted the video of the shot and said, "Is Giannis hitting that?"
Yep.
Same thing. Tweet that video. Is Jokic hitting this shot? It like, is Jokic really hitting that shot? If you send Jokic on that curl screen off the 3, is he going? Do you trust him to fade away and hit this shot? No, I don't.
Yeah, and it just to be honest, I thought it was an air ball. I swear, when it left his hands, I was like, God damn it, we're tied 1-1. I'm like, fuck, we got to go into game 3. I know they like to come back from deficits or whatever, but I'm like, fuck, and then it hits nothing but net. And I'm like, oh my God, we won this game. Holy shit. We're 6 wins away from winning the NBA Finals. 17's on the way. And you just see how the entire team runs to AD. And you see AD yell Kobe after it, and he says, I'm like that. Like, I think he's tired of the disrespect as well. Like, he sees a lot of the stupid shit that the rest of the NBA says. And my thing is, you see every NBA player love AD. You saw all the amount of love AD got after that shot. We didn't see that shit for Giannis when he won MVP. And I hate to see it's media-driven versus what the players, coaches, and scouts see. and we're going to talk about this because I know you want to get into like the voting things and how that went. But if you see kind of media perspective and you see player perspective, players love what AD brings to the table, yet it seems the media doesn't, just because AD doesn't make enough mean faces, where AD is just like the entire time. Like AD will swat the hell out of the shot and then make a step back mid range, and he won't do the crown thing, or he won't like do whatever Giannis does with his face.
No, he doesn't make enough mean faces.
He doesn't make mean faces, man. And the one time you see him show emotion was after he hit a game-winning shot. That's the first time I've seen AD show emotion, basically. And it's just because he doesn't make enough mean faces. And David, you like AD, but he's too inconsistent. What the hell is inconsistent about 30 and 10 in almost every single playoff game you have? What the fuck are you watching?
Now, he might be talking about is like AD might have that one game, like next game, he might have like 10 and 7, and he might say, okay, he's inconsistent, but I feel like that's odds. You literally can go to any stat and it'll show you 9 times out of 10 when a player goes for 40 or goes for 50. That next game is always pedestrian. That next game is always regular. That's why when Kobe did he went 50 for like 8 games, it was just wild, because it's like, yo, nobody like what are you doing? That. Like, yes.
And just okay, so that might happen, but it seems whenever AD's lacking on offense, he picks it up on the defensive side. So that's where I just kind of like dead the noise with inconsistent. And like I tweeted out today, you can't say he's not a killer if he impacts the defense that drastically. If he's a dog on the defensive side, you can't say he's a killer. Again, just because he's not making mean faces doesn't mean he's not a killer.
I seen Jokic have one easy possession on AD in the paint, and that was the last bucket he made when they right before the shot. He backed them down like 4 times. It kind of looked easy. That was the only time. I remember in the first quarter, the announcer was like, "It's the first quarter." He's like 3 for 11.
Yep.
So AD clearly makes, and also, like you said, Dwight he's there, man. He's causing havoc on Jokic. Have Jokic looking for fouls. And Dwight was supposed to be out the league, was supposed to be an outcast. Yeah. And he has Jokic like catching fits.
Yeah. No, like Dwight could have folded after not playing in the Houston series. He could have said, "I'm done." What is
You're
this?
Not going to play me
in the Western Conference Finals? He comes out and it looks like he's just ready to fight. He's ready to fight Jokic at whatever. He's ready to meet Jokic at the hotel room, in the locker room, wherever. And he's just throwing his body around. And like tonight, they wanted a flagrant on Dwight for kind of like spiking with
that
2
wasn't
hands.
A flagrant. That wasn't a flagrant.
He got the ball. Yes, it hit the face a little bit, but he basically got the ball with 2 hands. I'm like, if that's a flagrant, what are we watching? Why are we watching this?
If you go look at the two, Dwight Howard had, I think, 1 or 2 blocks right before that play. Both the same motion, swatted with both hands to make sure even if he misses with his right, he catches you with his left. That's just how he blocks. I've seen him do that multiple times. Now, the Marquise Morris with the Luka Doncic flagrant, we could tell flagrants. That's not a flagrant. Like,
you can't hit the face before you hit the ball. If you hit the ball first, then it's okay. You can't hit the face first and then hit the ball after. And that's what differentiated between Dwight Howard and Markieff. Or not Markieff.
And I think that was who was that? I think that was Reggie Miller. He was like, "I'm surprised they're not looking at this." I'm like, why would they? What would they be looking at? Is a regular foul.
Yeah. And like Dwight also got whistled for a foul where he blocked Jokic clean on, I believe it was probably like a play or two before that, where he got it clean and like Frank Vogel tried to challenge it. It just Jokic shot the free throw too quick.
Yes.
And so like Dwight has been everything you could ask for from a vet. And like you said, the vets have been there day one. Jared Dudley doesn't play, but it seems every single player on the court listens to Jared Dudley. Jared Duddy plays as much as you and I do. But for whatever reason, he seems to be like this fucking voice of wisdom. Same with Rondo. Rondo's he's been playing very well. And like, my apologies to Rondo. I wanted you to hold a clipboard. You've shut me the hell up. But the team listens to them. It's like you said, Vogel might not be the greatest of coaches, but every single player he has on this team and the vets, they have this team buying into anything and everything they're saying. Play for one another, rotate hard, play defense, and you always have a shot to win the game. And that's what they've done since they've been in the bubble, since the playoffs have started. That's why they call the Clippers the 96 Bulls. But if you watch our team play defense, we're not the 96 Bulls, but we're damn close to being one of the greatest defensive teams that the league has.
TPJ, my man.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. You know I fuck with TPJ. TPJ said that Kawhi and Paul George were Michael and Scottie Pippen.
No, that was funny.
And what's crazy is, I could see if like he was the only person I heard that from. That is not the first time I heard that like comparison. It was a lot of people comparing them to those, and I don't know. It's just crazy how when you see stuff unfold and you tell people all the time, like, bro. One thing I learned a long time ago is I might doubt LeBron's teammates, but I'm not doubting LeBron.
Yeah, never.
And if LeBron has AD on his team, I'm not down his teammates.
Yeah. So it's funny because like they said the Lakers didn't have depth, but I think we have the correct depth compared to, yes, other teams might have more talented depth. We just have depth that plays their role more consistently. Like, you're not going to see Dwight Howard ask for post touches. You're not going to see Dwight Howard complain about not getting post minutes or post touches or minutes.
And we don't have the depth. We don't have the depth that's we're going to have our players, our second starters, or our bench come in and they're going to play 10 straight minutes. Yeah. We don't have that depth. We have the depth where they're going to come in and play 4. LeBron's going to come back in. And then we're going to come in and play 8. And then AD is going to come back in. And now we rotate back to our starters. We have that, like you said, the correct depth.
We have depth where, hey, you're going to play next to AD and you're going to play next to Braun. And then we have the players that will play with both of them.
Yes. Yes.
And that's it. And like, people killed us for saying like we actually had a pretty good offseason. We got the players that fit our system. And like,
yes, we had a good offseason. But people get confused is having a good offseason compared to having the offseason you would wish to have. Yeah. Like, yes, of course, we wish we could get Kawhi. Jimmy Butler. We wish we could get Kawhi. We wish we could get whoever, Kemba, whoever, but we didn't. We ended up getting these people. Doesn't mean that we didn't have a good free agency. We just didn't have the free agency that we were dreaming of.
Yeah. But again, any offseason you land Anthony Davis
is amazing.
Yeah. So let's get to what you want to talk about. I know you had some questions about voting and if they're going to wait this long to announce the awards in the postseason, should you involve some postseason aspects of it or just have 2 completely different postseason awards, like outside of just the finals MVP?
So I was watching, I normally don't watch these talk shows, but it was this one talk show that I was watching on YouTube, like a clip. And I don't even know the dude's name. He probably played football, which I really don't kind of like when football players talk about, but it's whatever. But he said the bubble games before the playoffs, they played games that counted to the seeding of the regular season for the bubble, but the games, but you don't, it's kind of just confusing. Like, it doesn't make sense. How are you going to tell me that these games count, but then they don't count towards the MVP? Or I can't count this fact that the people who are the person we're going to give the MVP to.
Yeah.
gets put out the second round, like that has to take an effect. Or I don't like that. Or I would be, like I said, I would be way happier if the last game Giannis got his MVP. The last game of the bubble, they said, Giannis, here's your MVP.
Yeah.
Do the whole fan
Picture.
arena thing. And I'm fine. Because now when you get put out of the second round of the playoffs, you already got that award. I'm not really even thinking about it. Yeah, I'm gonna still talk about it, but I'm not gonna be this, upset about it. But the fact that you give it to him, he's in Greece because he got put out. Like, and
It's just
it kind of wouldn't have bothered. One more thing, it kind of wouldn't have bothered me if he just got MVP.
Yeah.
But you gave him MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. He's supposed to be God tier, godly man right now. Like, he's supposed to be he took the crown. He did he's supposed to be the man. So
yeah. Now I believe the only two players in the history of the NBA that won MVP and Defensive Player in the same year is Mike and Hakeem. So you can't be in Mike and Hakeem's category and then get sent home in the second round like that.
Depending on who you talk to.
I don't want to hear he's only 25 either. Your team won 60-plus games last year. Your team won 60-plus games again. He didn't even win a game against the Heat. It was
the only game that they did when you didn't play.
He didn't play, and Chris Middleton played fantastic. Also, how can you be Defensive Player of the Year and two of your teammates make an all-defensive team too? Because I know people kill LeBron and AD for having each other, but how can you be all-defensive player of the year if you have two all-defensive players on the second team? Because you want to say Dwight or AD and LeBron cancel each other out. Should that happen though with the all-defensive selections? I don't know. I don't like it. Also, if you're gonna only make it about the regular season, and announce it right after the regular season over. Give them 2 or 3 days to figure it out and then announce it. Don't announce these awards in the postseason, because not only does it look bad on the league, it looks bad on the players that get sent home. Like, it's a bad look for Giannis to win both of those awards and be home. And like, I know he didn't do anything, like he's a really good player, but like having to accept that in Athens, Greece, while the actual MVP and the actual defensive player are 10-2 in the bubble, it's just a little weird. And like I said, I don't know. I know we got on, I don't remember her name, but she didn't have Anthony Davis on any of the All-NBA teams, which
I saw.
I don't know how you forget, but like we had also people voting for Andre Drummond as a Defensive Player of the Year.
Dude, I saw a dude I watch on YouTube, King of the Fourth Quarter, Kenny. He did a video where he was like, I'm tired of these people getting votes. It was a person who this year, he voted for Patrick Beverley for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah,
like that was his vote. Like that was his vote. Like that dude has a vote.
Yeah,
like that's wild to me. Like I don't like how people get a vote. That whole situation is just, I don't like it.
Yeah, I would like to hear, if they're gonna vote, I want to hear their reasoning. Just like we get on here.
Why did you pick Patrick Beverley?
Yeah. We say things, but we also explain it. Like, why are you voting for Patrick Beverley? Why is Hassan Whiteside up there? Why are you giving Luka Doncic defensive votes? Like, I want to hear what they have to say about that.
What defense does?
Yeah, no, he got a defensive vote. And I just want to hear their reasoning. Like, if they have some base to like form that on, okay, like I can live with your reasoning. But if you're just going to vote for someone and not say why, I don't like that.
Oh, and another thing, I also don't like how people get mad at LeBron for getting mad that he only had 16 votes. Gee, I had the year that I had, and I understand AD is here, but I think I heard Pavy say Chris Middleton almost did 50, 40, 90. He missed that by like 10th of percent or something.
Yeah.
So it's like the Lakers haven't made a playoff. I think the last time the Lakers won a playoff game, I graduated high school.
Yeah, 2012.
I had just graduated high school. Yes, just graduated high school, G. The last time they won a playoff game. Get to the playoff number 1 seed in the West. That's way harder than the East.
Yeah.
It's 16 votes. I would be upset at that too.
Yeah. So I'm a Lakers fan. I have tweets that said LeBron couldn't do this out West. I had tweets saying, LeBron, if you're going to be a GOAT, I need to see you do it in the Western Conference. And I don't care about narratives. It's just, to me, the Western Conference has always been tougher. Go prove that. And then you get the best record in the West. You lead the league in assists. You also average 25 and like 6 and 10. Plus, you had one of your most impressive defensive years. How are you not MVP to me? Yes, I know you have AD, but for the rest of the media, for what they said last summer, shouldn't that kind of like contradict what they said, that the Lakers weren't deep? We didn't have that great of an offseason. So if LeBron and AD do that, shouldn't LeBron win MVP? Or shouldn't AD be top 5 MVP voting based off of what we see and what transpired over the year? We won 50-something games. I don't know.
This is another question.
Yes, Giannis, regular season MVP. I get it. But to give LeBron only 16 votes, that's a slap in the face. Like, that means Giannis got like, what, 60 or 70 or 80 of them? Like, to me,
I think he got 82 votes.
Yeah. That's just nuts. Like, I could have seen it where it was like 70-30 or like 65-35, but it shouldn't have been not lopsided.
And then a lot of people said, I was about to ask you a question. I'm going to keep that question in my mind. A lot of people said, oh, well, we're not grading this on a curve just because this is his 15th year or 17th year. We're not doing this. You have to take that into consideration. Y'all always say narrative is the thing that, it's the narrative. Mm-hmm. Gee, 17th year, what? I must not only am I going to, what you said, 25, 8, and 10, not only am I going to give you 25, 8, and 10, I'm going to change my position. I'm going to start playing point guard just randomly. I'm going to just randomly start playing point guard and lead the league in assists just because I think somebody else did that. Back in the old days, they said I randomly just want to lead the league in assists. Like he said that shit. And I'm going to just do it. Like, I forgot somebody they played the whole year with their offhand just because they wanted to. Like, just when you're doing shit like that, like, I deserve MVP. And like every analyst always says, LeBron can get MVP every year if you really want to be honest. Yeah. So, but hey. Oh, my question was, finals. I'm giving you a scenario, right?
I want to beat the Celtics.
Cool. Okay. Lakers versus Celtics.
Okay.
Right? AD averages 29, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, 4 assists. LeBron averages 25, 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, and around like 8 or 9 assists. Who do you think wins Finals MVP? Who do you think they give it to?
To me, I think the numbers won't matter as much next series, whereas impact will show. Tonight, AD was more impactful. This series, AD's been more impactful. But against Houston, you have LeBron, he's more impactful, but the numbers look similar. So I think you can't go numbers-wise with these two players. It just can go off field, basically. Like, if it was this series, AD's putting up what he's putting up, it's AD. Even though the numbers with LeBron and AD will look close. But again, I actually think LeBron's numbers will be higher next series. I think he actually guns for a Finals MVP. Like, I actually think he wants it. Whereas AD, to me, AD's biggest thing is he's, how would you say it? He's humble. He's kind of like Powell in some regards, to where he'll let the alpha be the alpha. But don't get it twisted. Powell is an alpha, and so is AD. It's just AD is going to look to LeBron to lead, even though AD might be our best player. And that's one thing I think that keeps AD in LA, is because he has LeBron to lean on, basically. And LeBron said tonight, LeBron leaned on AD to win it in the second half. So I don't know. I actually predicted AD to win the Finals MVP before the season started. Just because
that might be a good pick.
I think he's the most, how do you say it, talented player. He's also in the best situation for himself. And it finally seems like all the pieces are coming together for Anthony Davis. He kind of has what he has at Kentucky. He has the perfect storm for him to take over, and that's what he has in LA. And I also don't think you'll hear them bicker over who wins Finals MVP. They seem to be as close on the court as they are off. Plus, they're both clutch. I don't think either one cares if the other one wins, because you hear when LeBron speaks about Anthony Davis, LeBron's Anthony Davis's biggest supporter, and when Anthony Davis speaks about LeBron, he's his biggest supporter. So again, they also might be co-MVPs, just because they are that great as a tandem. And it would be cool to see LeBron get his fourth Finals MVP, but it would also be cool as hell to see AD get his first. So I'm not trying to like
very cool for AD.
I can see it going both ways. And against the Heat, I think AD wins it. Against the Celtics, I see LeBron winning it.
I was just about to say that.
Just because AD would be more impactful in a Heat series because of having to face Bam, whereas I think LeBron will kind of want to send a message to the Celtics. Because I tweeted last year or 2 years ago, even before LeBron becoming a Laker, he was almost an honorary Laker for how many times he sent the Celtics home or prevented them from getting another championship. Because like he sent them home. Like after 2009, 2010, he sent them home. He's kept them from the NBA Finals.
Yo, I always say this. Paul Pierce will never get over LeBron ending that Celtics big three. He literally ended that. And they always try to spin that narrative of they ran him out of Cleveland. And I'm like, no, he was playing with fucking Mo Williams. And like, what do you like? Okay. But yeah, that big three in Boston, him putting that big three out and then sending them to Brooklyn and doing the same thing, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and like he is always salty with how he talks about LeBron because of that. And I'm just like, it's okay to lose to all-time greats. Like, just admit that you're not like that, and just like Reggie doesn't care that Kobe sent him home in the 2000 NBA Finals. Like, it's okay if you lose to all-time greats.
Charles Barkley always, like, they clown him for the rings and stuff. But I've heard him say that multiple times, like, listen to the people who I played against. Look who I was going up against. I was going up against people who are in your top 10. Like, I wasn't going against, no offense, but, like, DeMar DeRozan. Like, I'm not going against, like, I'm going against top 10 people. Like, yes, I don't have a ring. What do you mean?
Like, what? Should I have beaten Mike? Like, Mike's number one for me.
He's
like,
undefeated. What do you want me to do? Beat Mike?
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just see if it's, like I said, matchup-wise, it just depends on who they match up against. And, yeah, the Lakers only have two options for Finals MVP. Like, you and I both know that. It's either AD or LeBron. There's no surprise dark horse in this discussion either. And like you said earlier, we don't want to look past the Denver Nuggets, but if you can't win tonight, when you shoot 14 more free throws, the Lakers get called for 6, 7, 8 more fouls, and we completely shut down in the second half. If you can't beat us after that, when are you going to beat us 4 times out of the next 5 games? Because that's what the Nuggets have to do. And again, we're not the Los Angeles Clippers. You're going to have to You're going to have to beat one of the greatest players of all time and one of the most skilled players of all time 4 out of 5 times. Can you do it? My hat's off to you if you can. But I just don't see that.
Pavi said, Lou Dort ain't coming through that door. Paul George ain't coming through that door. And ain't nobody finna just shoot off the backboard. We ain't just.
Yeah. Like Melo's not walking through that door. J.R. Smith's not walking through that door. Alex English isn't walking through that door in Denver. So I don't know who you think's coming off the bench, but yeah. And like, to be honest, I'm glad we finally had this. I've been trying to get you on for like a couple weeks, and like the times you've been able to, I haven't. The times I've been able to, you haven't. So just it's fun to finally get you on the podcast. And is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we head out?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Not really.
All right. So before we leave, tell people a little about yourself and where to find your music, and just get your plug in before we take off.
All right, I'm Osmosis Jones. They call me Oz for short. Make music. You can find me everywhere. My EP, The Night Before, is on all DSPs. You can just type in The Night Before or Osmosis Jones. That's Jones with a G, G-O-N-E-Z. You also can follow me on every social media. Handle is always the same. Osmosis Jones, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everything. I stream. Twitch, I do everything. Make clothes. I do everything. I also am a big fan. I appreciate you having me on this podcast. Like you said, it's cool. You know, I know times be matching up, trying to find when you could do it, but you know, I appreciate you, and I had fun talking with you and watching this game today. Definitely.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely have you on. Hopefully, when the Lakers do win number 17. Like, we'll definitely have you on like again. And thank you for joining. This has been King Watch LA. This is Daniel Beltz. Make sure you guys like on YouTube /HNB Media TV. Pavi, TPJ, myself, Ashley, Chris, we're putting out dope content, and just keep up with us during the NBA playoffs. And like, in my opinion, we might have like the biggest tools to work with, but we just provide dope content and like kind of like realistic content where you could talk to us. We don't care. Like, we'll also admit when we're wrong too, and we try to push out as much as we can. And that's why I fuck with people at Hoops and Brews. That's why they fuck with us too. So it's cool to see kind of like a real sports podcast and sports media going through, compared to you see Stephen A saying different things every single time you see him on ESPN. And I think that's why you rock with us as well. So thanks for being on the show, and this has been fun, man.
One last thing. Y'all have to subscribe to these guys. Y'all have to, because I've been listening and been watching for a long time, and as soon as I started tweeting, they responded. As soon as I remember the first time when Anthony Davis got traded to the Lakers, I tweeted and Pavi and TPJ and told him, can I get a happy hour for the trade? And he did the happy hour because I asked him to do the happy hour. And I fuck with that, because it's like y'all fuck with the community. Y'all are in tune. So I definitely appreciate y'all. I appreciate the work, the dope content. You know, I'm watching every live stream. I'm always in there. So, you know, you'll see me.
Yeah. No, we're just regular dudes who like to talk basketball and like to interact with other people watching the same stuff we're doing. Like, why are you going to be in this field if you're not interacting with the people you're trying to talk to? Like, I see Skip, Stephen A., Marcellus, all of them just tweet to just get out a tweet. But I'm like, why are you tweeting that unless you want to engage with the people that you follow and that follow you? Like, are you actually trying to talk basketball, or are you just going for clout? And that's like a discussion for a different day, which we'll get into probably at some point later in the time. But again, thanks for joining. And until the next time, go Lakers. And it's been fun having you on, man.
No problem.